I am the Doctor, this is my section. Earth is under my protection. Planet of birth is Gallifrey. I've got two hearts, your life is saved. Run into the Master Raw Missy. Come on, Alonzo. Alonzi. I am a Time Lord. No, I'm not rich. 12 bodies a man. Now it's time for a switch. Don't look like that. I'm in great health. You were expecting someone else? Regeneration. Oh, such fun. When I say run, run, run. What's up, my boy? Peace and sanity. Sorry, mustache. Reverse the polarity. Sometimes I'm north, but always a limey, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. Jump in the TARDIS, go for a ride. It's bigger on the inside. Exploring all of time and space. Oh, what's that? Exterminate.
Cybermen or Daleks, maybe.
Would you like a jelly baby? Time's ticking, we'd best go. A new adventure, Geronimo. I am fantastic, so are you. Best come with me. I'm Doctor Who. Welcome to a brand new episode of D4WH as we build our great and bountiful D4WH empire. I am one of your hosts, Adam O'Sullivan, and I'm rocking the latest fashion, a hole in my head.
Ooh!
Joining me as always is our other host. We have to make this quick because she's just been invited up to level 500. It's Nicchia Schutt.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hello. Oh, thank you for I'm very excited about the promotion. I know that
The walls are made of gold.
Yeah, I know that you're feeling a little left behind, but you never worked as hard as me anyway.
If the walls were made of gold, wouldn't you just spend the days just chipping it off?
Pretty much.
What are you doing? I'm getting some of the gold off the friggin' walls.
And the other thing is, who makes a building made of gold?
Maybe it's gold plated.
Gold plated.
We are joined today by two guests. Please welcome newcomer Beck Buckingham.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. And our carryover champ, Andrew Dawson.
Hello, thanks for having me back. I didn't think you would, so this is I'm very happy to be back here.
Well, we lost a bet, so
Yeah.
no, thank you so much for joining us again.
And it's good to have Lazy Susan here again, late.
Well, the listeners don't need to know that. Well, they do now. Okay, guys. 3, 2, 1, and spike.
Oh! That has got to hurt, doesn't it?
Oh, all that information. Oh, my God.
But you forget it. So what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. Surely it'd be like the Matrix where you could also give yourself, I know Kung Fu now.
Yeah. Or I could learn another language.
You wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, what channel was I doing last night? One Nation. Jesus. Oh, God. Oh, glad I forgot that, that's for sure. Beck, do you want to go through your history with Doctor Who?
So I am a Tom Baker Doctor Who fan. I grew up on the Cisco Kid and the Three Stooges because I lived somewhere very remote, and the first television I ever actually saw was Tom Baker's Doctor Who.
Wow.
So I hadn't seen one since this episode.
Oh, really? So when's the last time you saw a Doctor Who episode?
The 1970s.
Wow.
So you
Remember
saw
them?
an episode and you didn't go, oh, fuck, this is for me, baby.
I watched the whole Tom Baker series as a kid and then hadn't watched anything since. And so
wow.
in my head, the Doctor was a very flamboyant, scarf-wearing, bushy-haired gent.
Yes.
With bug eyes.
And you've given me Christopher Eccleston,
Yes. Sorry about that.
which was very different.
We can give you the flamboyant later on if you like. So you were watching in the 70s. What did you decide to stop watching, or just life got in the way, or what made you stop watching?
I think life got in the way. I was originally entranced by it because after the Cisco Kid and the Three Stooges, the first episode of Doctor Who, which was, the TARDIS and everything was technology and it was magical and mystical and it was so different to
The
Curly,
Cisco
Larry
Kid.
and Moe.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was a really different thing for me to see. But then, life got in the way and other programs got in the way and I sort of didn't watch it for a very long time. And so this was my entree back into... And I have to say, I've done an awful lot of research since you gave me this episode.
Oh, might have done more research than anybody we've had on the podcast.
Well, I had to have context then because I watched one episode, so then I had to watch the episode before and then the episode after, and then I had to research all the 13 Doctors, and then I had to go on YouTube. So I've got a lot of information, probably all useless.
This is kind of how we develop Whovians. We invite people along and we kind of make them feel like there's going to be a quiz at the end. So they get really nervous and then they do all their research, except Andrew here.
I was going to say, Andrew,
Yeah.
how much research have you done?
all of it.
Fantastic. Talking to the mic, not your hands.
Well, I was telling a lie, so that's why.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You can only
beard is
tell lies
muffling
through
the
your
sound.
hands. And it's a shame we never got that Three Stooges episode where they were in the TARDIS. They're like, nah, Curly. They pulled a plank out of the TARDIS and it just keeps going and going and
I'm about to
going.
blow you away with the research I did about this episode.
Oh,
but
yes.
go on. Like, I'll school you with
Wait,
it
wait,
later.
let's start with the main question. Did you watch the episode?
I did,
Okay,
and here's a
fantastic.
funny
Tick.
story.
Yes.
That was at 4 a.m. last Saturday morning because I had a big night, and I'm like, I've got to do this Doctor Who thing.
I've got homework.
The next morning, and then I woke up at about 11 a.m. I'm like, oh no, I've missed it, and I went to message the group to say, oh, I'm so sorry, but I'm like, oh, it's next week. So that's how sharp I
Hey,
was.
at least you didn't accidentally tell everyone it was the day before the recording was actually supposed to happen. And 2 guests rocked up to Nicchia's place, and I was like, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm at a rehearsal.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
That was fun. They still, surprisingly, came back on the show. So
I would just like to say before we move on, Cisco Kid, Cisco,
Hey,
Poncho.
Pancho.
We'd be the
I
only
was going to
two
say the
here
Cisco
who know
Kid
it.
sounds like, hey, I'm the Cisco Kid. I'm walking here.
No, it was like a poor man's Lone Ranger.
Yeah, and he had a Mexican guy who was his offsider, which was Poncho.
That
And I
was
bet
their
he was.
catchphrase.
I
was
bet he
that
was
played
handled.
by an Anglo-Saxon by any
Yeah.
chance?
Yes, I was going to
Yeah.
say. I bet it was handled
In
real.
blackface.
Mickey
Real
Rooney dressed
nicely.
Chinese,
Yeah.
just
Oh,
like no, it
Mickey
wasn't.
Rooney dressed Chinese and then did a Mexican accent on Cisco Kid. Yeah.
But it was it was black and white, and I'm sure it didn't go very.
Oh, does that
very
make
long.
that makes it okay if it's black and white?
No,
No, it just makes it old.
It just makes it really, really old, and I have a very faint memory of the Cisco Kid. But all I remember is Cisco e Poncho.
All right. We'll start as we always do with Doctor Who news.
Hang on, we haven't. Oh, we don't ask him.
Oh yeah, because we've already done it on his episode.
Yeah, we know,
We've got his
but
history. We don't
we
need
want
to
to
do
know
it
if
again.
you did research.
Well, I did research on, and like I was going to drop these bombs like just casually as we start talking
Yeah,
about
you
the
can do that.
episode, but I did research on how the world's really going to be in
Were they going
200,000
to be
years.
bottom
Oh,
bums?
that's interesting. But you said you did research into what we're going to be like in 200,000 years. That's interesting.
Yeah, it turns out apparently we won't be wearing mid-2000s clothes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Adult diapers for everyone.
No, but surprisingly, in 200,000 years, we'll be back to wearing the 80s.
Yeah.
You get an adult
Just
diaper.
flares
You get
and-
an adult diaper.
You get an adult diaper. I'm sorry.
I love that with 5 people on the podcast, we're just having separate conversations.
Yeah.
This is going to be a nightmare to fucking edit.
It's always hard with 5.
I was delighted to see that cornrow plaits make it 200,000 years in the future.
Yeah.
I know.
Did your research turn up anything on cornrow plaits?
I did about 6 hours of in-depth dives into predictions of what the world's going to be like in 200,000 years.
But I do know that there's been a couple of theoretical scientists who have done research into what they think we will look like in hundreds of thousands of years. And I think one of them was like we get taller, our eyes get bigger so we can see better. It's actually really interesting. Maybe we should do an episode about it. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's just me just thinking out loud.
I'd love to be tall with great
Andrew, do
big
you want to write us an
eyes.
episode?
You already are.
No, I'm not. I'm short compared to really tall people.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're
conversations
the
again.
tallest person in this room, probably.
But my eyes aren't the biggest yet.
Start as we always do with Doctor Who news. Now, this is actually old news, but I've only just heard about it, so we're going to talk about it anyway. Damn it.
Oh, what? It's coming back in 2005. That's how old the news is.
Oh my God, Doctor Who's coming
Yeah,
back?
yeah. I know. It's
No,
a great
this is from
idea.
October 2018, so back when we were preparing our very first episode. In Australia, we have Dancing with the Stars, but in the UK, it's known as Strictly Come Dancing. For their Halloween-themed episode last year, Stacey Dooley and Kevin Clifton danced the terrifying tango to the Doctor Who theme.
Yeah, I watched it this morning.
Yeah, it's quite a nice little clip.
I thought it was. I liked her little outfit.
Yeah.
I quite like those pants with the big splits up the front.
Palazzo pants.
Palazzo pants.
Stacey, who is known for making documentaries on BBC Three about social issues, was dressed as the 13th Doctor, and her professional dancer partner Kevin was dressed as a dashing Cyberman.
He looked good too.
Other than the helmet and being painted silver, it was just like a normal...
Yeah, I know, but I mean, you've got to be able to dance. Could you imagine a Cyberman trying to dance?
Oh, imagine it in full Cyberman outfit. That'd be amazing. Imagine if he did the robot. Ew.
Is that what you're going to do if you ever get on Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah,
Just the
yeah.
robot.
Well, first of all, I would know that I was a star. Because I'm not a professional dancer.
You're C-list,
Yeah,
by the way.
podcast host. Well, you know, to get on Dancing with the Stars, do you have to be slightly more famous than to get on like I'm a celebrity, get me out of here? Like,
that's- yeah.
what's the celebrity status?
I don't know.
Carl
I-
Stefanovic.
Put it this way, if there's a show with celebrity in the title, it's probably the opposite of that.
Yeah, probably someone you saw once in a magazine.
Yeah.
I should have
Well-
a question mark, like I'm a celebrity, question mark.
Yeah.
Get me out of here.
The 4 judges loved the dance, awarding the pair 35 out of a possible 40. Mandip Gill, who played...
Technically, I felt that there were a lot of issues with it. Me, with my big dance background.
Well, you're the... I mean,
Well,
you
this
you
is
were...
Didn't they do the clock thing right? I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, no,
yeah.
no, it was wrong. When they coupled up and the arms weren't straight.
I don't know if you know this, guys.
Slightly
but
off centre too.
The traditional tango is in sci-fi.
Yeah,
It's more of a romantic comedy.
much more.
Mandip Gill, who plays Yaz in the new series, was in the audience. When asked if Stacey could channel the Doctor for her performance, she replied, "Absolutely. The Doctor travels through time and space, and Stacey definitely travels through space."
Maybe they should have gotten Mandip Gill to dance with Stacey
Yeah, maybe
as
they
the
can-
Doctor.
Oh, yeah.
Would have fueled
Well,
the
apparently
whole-
one of the judges was
whole
talking about
rumours.
how when she did the tango, she was switching between the male and the female part.
Oh.
Yeah, so that
well,
was
that's
quite
good.
nice. And obviously, totally PC, not my doctor. Oh,
Yeah,
my God.
God, boobs.
Stacey and Kevin went on to win the 16th season of Strictly Come Dancing.
Ooh.
So they knocked it out of the park.
I've seen one or two of her docos.
Oh, okay. I didn't know who she was before I looked it up.
Did you read the comments?
No.
On
Oh,
the
God.
clip, there was a comment. My favourite comment was someone had written, "I don't normally like Doctor Who, but dot dot dot," and I thought, is that what you think Doctor Who is?
Oh, they're going to be so disappointed.
Yeah. Oh, there's not as much dancing as I thought there was going to be.
Thought there'd be more dancing,
Yeah.
More plucks, more palazzo pants.
more palazzo pants.
That would actually be a good episode of like somewhere 200,000 years in the future, the Doctor does Dancing with the Stars. And it's like a
Or she
battle.
goes up against the Daleks and she's like, there's only one way to defeat them. To dance around them.
We must-
Daleks dancing, that
We
would
must
be
tango.
hilarious.
to the safety
Daleks.
dance.
Well, Buffy did a musical episode.
That
so
was
let's have-
fantastic.
Oh.
I think every
I thought I was
show's
having a
had one.
stroke when I watched that. I watched it on TV going, what's happening?
Hey, I thought I was having a stroke the first time I ever watched Teletubbies because I'd just flown over to Toronto. I woke up in the morning. I was
the acid
really
was really
disoriented.
hitting you that day.
I turned it on and Teletubbies were on.
Oh,
I went,
no.
Like I'm in a surreal. Where am I?
Our episode today is The Long Game, Season 1, Episode 7. If you were expecting Episode 6, Dalek, we've already reviewed that with Ain't It Rich, so go back
We
and
have.
listen to it. The Long Game was written by Russell T Davies and directed by Brian Grant. Let's start with a short synopsis. The Doctor and Rose take Adam Mitchell to the year 200,000 to the fourth great and bountiful human empire. They arrive on Satellite 5, which broadcasts 600 news stations around the galaxy. But something is not quite right. People promoted to Floor 500 never return. The Doctor explores with the help of future reporter Kathika and finds out that the human race is being led down a dangerous path by an alien creature known as the Jagraphis.
I like the fact that we don't see as much of him to begin with because once you see him, he's a bit disappointing.
Yeah, once you see him, it's like, this is another episode where you have to keep reminding yourself, like, this was made in the mid-2000s,
Yeah.
not the mid-90s.
Yeah.
'Cause
Although production values, you'd think so.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You'd look at the episode and be like, oh, this is
It was made in 1995, so it's a 90s episode.
2005.
Oh, 2000. Oh, it was too.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we're not talking about the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, New Who's 24 years old.
Oh, my God.
You know who's old enough to drink?
Oh, my God. It should drink more.
No, isn't it 14 years? Not 24.
She said it was 1995.
Oh, it made it 24
right.
years. It's
Okay,
not old
right.
enough to drink, but it's old enough to have a drama and make your life a pain. Oh, sorry.
Oh, God.
I've had a
Wow, that's-
14-year-old.
Yeah, well, okay, all
Go
right
on.
then. Let's start with the synopsis. The TARDIS appears and Rose and the Doctor emerge. The Doctor gives Rose all of the details of the location. It's the year 200,000. They're on a spaceship and go and try that gate over there.
And then we meet Adam.
Worst modern companion Adam Mitchell appears for his first and only adventure. Rose pretends to come up with the info herself.
All right, what did we all think of the opening?
Of Adam Mitchell.
Oh, of Doctor Who. We're still talking about Doctor Who.
Yeah.
You're both looking at me like, what? Opening of what? What
The
happened?
opening of the thing in their head,
The door.
opening of the door.
When you first started, the first 5 minutes, and when you met Adam and stuff, before the credits.
I thought they were playing a trick on the new guy in the hoodie because they walked into this room. It's like, architecture looks like the year 200,000. I'm like, oh, they're playing a trick on him. This
Yeah.
is like, because it's clearly not. That was sarcasm, but no, apparently. Yeah.
No.
No, well, I suppose it's a parody of like what the Doctor usually does. Yes, it's usually like Tom Baker used to do that a lot. I'd say by the architecture that it's.
Matt Smith would look at his
Oh, so that was
look at his
intentionally
watch.
cheeky.
Yeah,
Like,
probably.
okay, cool. Yeah, because that's what I thought. And I was there going, is that? I hope that was intended to be sarcasm because it came across like that.
Yeah.
Well, the 13th Doctor eats dirt, and she's like, they have a gift shop.
I know.
Okay, that's awesome.
Matt Smith looks at his watch and goes, oh, look, it's 1835.
Well, the Doctor does that too in this episode. He goes, oh, my watch must be wrong.
He does. So what do you think, Beck?
First of all, I had a visceral reaction to the sound of the TARDIS appearing because, and I just got it again then, like goosebumps, because that took me straight back to being a kid, that it was just this, I remember that sound. And I thought the same thing, that it was because I don't know a lot of the backstory of Adam, that I didn't know where they were leading him or what they were sort of angling at. It did sound sort of sarcastic. So, and then 200,000 years in the future, I've got some issues with that, which we'll discuss later.
Feel free to just
I'm glad
jump
you,
in.
yeah, I've got some.
You
a lot of
don't
points,
think
but
that
I'll allow you
200,000 was an accurate representation of what, you know?
No, say it now, don't wait.
In some ways, it's also a parody of the Doctor's second adventure, where he takes Rose to the
end of the world.
to the end of the universe. You know,
I was expecting the bitchy trampoline to turn
Oh,
up.
yeah. I was
bitchy trampoline.
She's my
bitchy
favourite
trampoline to
character.
come back. You don't know who the bitchy trampoline is.
Sometimes we'll make
is that a
references.
person or a
Yeah,
thing?
Yeah,
yes.
that's Cassandra.
That's the last person.
That's Cassandra, the very last human.
That's quite the nickname.
And she's had,
I mean, except for the humans in Utopia who are at the end of the universe.
yeah.
But anyway.
So she has had everything thinned out. So she's just skin on a platform with a face. And she has people who moisturise her. And she's a bitch. And her name's Cassandra.
Rose leads Adam to a viewing deck where they can see the Earth below them. The Doctor introduces the fourth great and bountiful human empire.
Da, da, da.
The Earth is covered in megacities. It has 5 moons and 96 billion people.
Where'd we get the moons from?
I don't know.
I want to know.
We just stole some of Jupiter's moons.
They didn't need them.
I think the insinuation is we made moons because there's not enough room for people on Earth.
Ah, okay.
We could have just stole other people's moons.
Why not?
All
That's
those
what we
moon
do.
people
Why
coming to
wouldn't we?
Earth.
Why wouldn't we? We
Yeah.
are the superior race.
Mercury,
We should just steal what we like.
Mercury, boom, make it a moon.
Yep.
Venus, boom, make it a moon.
Make it a moon.
Mars, boom, make it a moon.
Moon.
I'm glad you resisted the urge to introduce Uranus there, Adam.
It's too far away. It'd take too many resources.
I was showing mine, but I didn't want to talk about it.
I mean, that is how you record, and I've gotten used to it, but it's still not pleasant. Adam passes out from amazement.
Oh, we've all done that.
Oh, yeah.
I hate. This is
Adam.
the one.
Yeah, I hate Adam too. Yeah,
too.
yeah.
But there's just the one line in this whole of Doctor Who ever that just doesn't gel. And I don't know whether it's the way Christopher Eccleston says it, but it feels completely out there. He says he's your boyfriend, but he doesn't say it like he's your boyfriend. It's like he makes a statement, and then Rose goes, "Not now, he's not." It's the way it doesn't work. It's
For me, that's
stuck out for
the
me
only
again.
part of the episode where they discuss Adam and Rose that actually works for me, because he sounds like he's very sarcastic of like, well, he's your boyfriend, and she's like, not now, he's not.
That's the thing. He doesn't say your boyfriend. He just says he's your boyfriend, and it always drives
Because every
me
other
nuts.
time they refer to it, it's like, oh, you're going off on a date, and it's
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
And I'm like, she has a boyfriend.
Yeah, well,
She
it's
has a
Rose.
boyfriend back at Earth. He is dead.
I don't.
Thus defeating
198,000 years in the
the purpose of a
past.
boyfriend.
They could go back into the past and he would still be alive.
Okay,
you know, but-
okay. Here's a point, Bart. If you're somewhere in the year, wherever they are, and you've got a girlfriend,
That's unrealistic.
I know, but I'm gonna go.
Jesus.
Suspending.
I'm going for the realistic stuff now.
Oh my
you're,
God.
You're in the future.
I didn't mean that.
You've got a girlfriend.
Oh, I love that the most unrealistic part of the story is that I have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Not the time travel.
No.
No.
Time travel was
That'll be
disproven.
that'll
Time travel
work
was
out.
disproven by Stephen Hawking, but fucking everyone can disprove me having a girlfriend.
Oh, just look at your Facebook. I know, I'm kidding. And you had a girlfriend,
Yep.
and then another girl in the future was a bit hot for you. Same one for you, Andrew?
I'd say I have a girlfriend.
Really? You
Yeah.
would not, even though
No.
your girlfriend's, what about you? Your girlfriend's in the past. Well, you know, she's there when you get back, but you're way in the future and another girl likes you and she's pretty hot. Are you cheating if your girlfriend's dead?
Well, she's not dead because you're going to go back to that time
Yeah.
again.
But she's dead right
that's
then.
an interesting question. What happens? Wow, this is a
That's a
thought quote to
question
go
of
down, because what
morality.
happens when, like, just say you have a happily marriage together. Just say you live out your whole life in the same time period, then you go to the future, you can always you're always cheating because you always have the option to go back and be with them. So it's double cheating to cheat on someone.
No,
in the
but it
future
depends
because
where you are in your timeline. So you have your own timeline. The time stream has its own timeline. So you might be in the year 200,000, but in your timeline, you're still dating that person.
Okay,
because you haven't gone back and said, actually, I want to see other people.
Yeah, so you're still under that commitment. Like, imagine
Yeah.
if your reverse situation, like your girlfriend and boyfriend comes back. It's like, oh yeah, I just had to fucking gangbang with Daleks in the year 200,000. You can't be
that's a
upset
porn
about
movie.
it because it was 200,000 years from now. You'd be like, yeah, I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah.
But within your timeline, it was only like
You can bring
it was
back
like a couple
diseases.
of days ago, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but you can still bring, and it's like, oh no, don't worry about that discharge. That was,
It's from a Dalek.
yeah, that's from a Dalek
Yeah, I
100,000 years
I
from
shoot
now. It's like,
lasers
oh
from
yeah,
my
don't
dick
even
now.
worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
I now have a door in my penis.
What?
Don't know why.
I
I'm
gave
doing
birth to a tentacle monster, and that's a Dalek.
Why are we now
Technically,
talking about
they used to be
hentai?
Khalids.
But no, I'm
Why do
curious
you know about
that.
hentai?
So,
You're
Not
still-
that young.
You're a sicko.
Beck, you and I are different situations. We're married and happily
I didn't
married.
know.
You
was
and
married.
Oh, yeah, you
and
are.
Beck are married.
Yeah, Beck and I are married. No, Miss Beck. Miss Beck with a C,
Beck
not
Buckingham,
BekTech.
not
Okay,
BekTech.
so Beck and BekTech.
There's 2 Becks and 2 Adams on this episode.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
Ah, yeah.
But just one slutty.
One slutty,
And I assume when
one
you
lazy Susan.
That's enough.
and I assume when you're talking about the shit Adam, you're talking about me. So
Yeah, yeah. No, I want to know what about you? We're married, we're happily married, but you go off in the future and you get a chance to snog somebody. Do you do it?
Well, I think if you're happily in a relationship, you're not going to do it. So it comes down to the individual and how happy you are in your relationship. In her response to when the doctor says, what does he say?
Is
He's your boyfriend.
And she's like, not anymore. To me, she's implying that there was something, she could see that there was going to be something there.
Yeah, she flirted outrageously with him the episode before.
And she needs a brush through that hair.
Oh,
by the
God.
way. Good God, those
Does-
bangs annoyed the shit out of me, I just have to say.
But I would argue that if you're unhappy in a relationship and you decide to go traveling with the doctor, you'd be like, oh yeah, by the way, we're done. I'm going to go traveling with the doctor.
Bang everything, wouldn't you?
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah.
You just,
I'd
you know,
be Captain Jack. I'd bang it all.
But it would also be amazing, wouldn't it? Because if you were like on a date with someone and you had the access to the TARDIS and it went south, like, oh, I mucked that up. I'm going to see you in less than 2 hours from now. I'm going to try again.
why can't we go back and fix it? They're like, oh, I can't go back in my time stream unless
That's
it
very
makes
interesting,
sense. And
'cause
then
they've paid
they just
attention
do
to
it.
that notion of, because that's the theory I subscribe to with time travel, is that there's timelines and it's not like you go back into your own body. So that's interesting. That totally changes what I said about the whole cheating thing. They're in a different universe to you now. And you
Oh,
can't go
okay,
back
So
to
does
you're-
that mean
you're-
you would?
Well, it seems like it wouldn't be because that person doesn't know you exist anymore because you don't
They're dead.
exist in their world. You've
So you would
literally,
do it either
they're
way.
literally, put it this way, no, they're dead to you because you can never go back and see them as they were when you were in a relationship.
But
you actually,
you can.
Oh, you're saying that the
but the
splits
choice
off
of
in a
time
multiple
travel is a
multiple-
breakup then in that sense because like I'm never going to see you like I am now. I'm literally done in your life now.
But what happens if it was like the Back to the Future thing where
Yeah,
like
that's
going
different.
back?
If you're going back
Yeah.
into your own body, own timeline, that's totally cheating.
You're trying to
But-
shag your own mother.
Doctor Who does.
we all?
Doctor Who has parallel dimensions, but making a change in the past still affects the future. It's kind of a mixture of the two.
Doing something in the future doesn't affect the past.
No, of course not.
Not that I'm going to, now my husband's going to watch this and think if I go time traveling, which I am, of course, that I'm going to cheat. I'm not. I was just curious.
Wouldn't it be awesome if that's what broke up your marriage?
I know.
Wouldn't it be awesome and that's how we could just get rid of Mickey?
Oh,
It would have worked so much better.
that would be good.
So what happened? Like you and Nicchia seemed pretty well. Oh, she went traveling to the future and she hooked up with some alien. Look, man, I know it's hard, but you don't have to make shit up.
Yeah,
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
God. Wanted to tell
He
us
had
the
two
truth.
of everything.
Did you hear about that guy
Everything.
who said he was the song you were singing before by two aliens? It was a guy in Sydney.
No.
It was a guy in Sydney in the 90s, early 90s. Interesting case because he was like these time traveling Nordic looking aliens forced me to have sex with him last night. Everyone's like, wow, you did some drugs. He's like, no, I'm serious, because he had injuries and he had a hair on his nether regions that was from one of them. They did DNA tests. It is of an unknown species.
Oh my God, he had sex with a Yeti.
And he's full, like, he was an accountant. He was married and everything, and he just went crazy. But the interesting thing was he had a hair from an unknown species.
Wow.
And now he spends his time hunting
it wasn't
for
a double.
alien
It wasn't a double
hair.
helix of DNA. It was a triple helix.
Ooh.
Yeah, interesting. So I'm like, this is ridiculous. But no, it's full on like Harvard or something like that.
fucking
Harvard,
Now,
Oxford.
Did you read that in? There used to be a magazine called Post, which would have things like, "I gave birth to a fish."
No,
Did you
Oh,
read
yeah,
it?
That's
it's
the
like-
one that had homegirls.
Yes.
Homegirls and home blokes, where
Yes.
ordinary Australians would send in topless and bottomless photos of themselves.
Yes, yes.
I was going to say he read it in People magazine.
Oh,
where-
well, People's was the same as Post.
Another high quality rag.
Right up there with Zoo.
I was going to say, if you're listening today in the modern era, a Zoo would be similar.
Yeah.
Doctor Who theme. How does everyone react to our Doctor Who theme?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
Again, I had a visceral reaction. I got goosebumps because it thrilled to see that it has actually changed very little since
I
since I
think
was a kid.
That's what's good about it. If you ever go back and watch Kimber the White Lion, they changed the theme song. Ruined my life. But anyway.
Bastards. And that
How many
was
times do
the-
I have to tell you we're not doing the Kimber the White
Yeah,
Lion
I
podcast
think-
Oh,
right
I think
now?
we are.
I just hit bingo on D4WH. Okay, let's continue.
All right.
No. I'm talking.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to fucking play this game again.
Shut me down.
Just jokes.
Don't upset.
It was a sarcasm because I'm a guest here and I can't tell anyone what to do.
Don't upset the editor. She cuts you out.
Also, don't upset the editor.
Yes. Yes.
The Doctor tells Adam to open his mind. A piece of foreshadowing for later on.
I know.
Do you get it? Do you get it?
Subtle.
Open your mind. You're going to have a hole in your head. The Doctor advises that at this point in the human race, they have fine food and good manners. A statement that is instantly proven wrong when a bunch of food carts open up and the workers push for the slop.
Yeah, it was hideous.
Gronk burger,
And then she was drinking a slushy that was what, beef?
beef slushy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a gronk? Is gronk a thing that you know? Is it a
No, I think it's just a
never.
made up
It's just
word.
a-
Yeah.
I don't know what a gronk burger is, but
I'll have two. Adam wonders where all the alien races are, and the Doctor says that's a good question. The BBC stay quiet, very carefully holding onto their purse strings and muttering, "Too expensive."
they put all their money in the Jagrafest, and I don't know if it was worth it. But anyway.
Anyway.
Oh, I thought it was.
Oh,
I
really?
thought it was when that appeared and looked like a giant vagina with teeth.
It did.
And I thought it was quite scary.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, there
and
you
the
go.
noises it made, the sort of sloshing noises.
I thought it would have dripped on people more because it looked kind of wet.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
when it
when
blew
you
up,
when you
it
watch the
dripped.
animation, it drips, but then no one gets anything
Yeah,
on them. You
yeah,
know,
that was
and you
done.
say it looks like a vagina with teeth. I
Oh,
thought it
God.
looks more like me after I've been to KFC, just sitting around. Like,
Did you just make that comparison?
Great.
Did you-
So
did you
Adam
think
looks like a
about that?
vagina with
With
teeth.
teeth, yeah,
after
drips
KFC.
everywhere.
I heard it was Jagger, like I was thinking of like Mick Jaggerface, like Jaggerface. I'm like, oh, it's going to be Mick Jagger.
His lips weren't big enough.
"Dub me up!
I
I'm
know-
gonna take
Oh, it's the
over."
Mick Jagger
I know
face.
watching the bloopers that Simon Pegg had so much trouble getting out the full title
Oh, yes.
of who he was. It took him quite a few goes.
Really, it's really easy to say the editor.
Yeah.
The doctor
Pause for
raids
sigh.
pause for sigh. The Doctor raids a cash machine and sends Adam and Rose off with some money on a cash device.
Yeah, see, this is a problem for me.
Yes.
As a regular Whovian, sometimes he's got no money and then that doesn't help. And then other times he can go to an ATM or a cash point and just get money all over the place.
Well, if there's a cash machine around, he just shoots it. You know.
Yeah,
so-
spoilers, he stole it.
He's a thief.
I hope it's not from my account.
But I want to know, like, does everyone have one of those things that they carry around that just tops up money? Or does the machine spit out one every single time you go for money? Because it's got that little thing and it spits it out. What a waste. Like, there's a room where there's just thousands of those things. You're like, oh, I just need $5. And you get a new one. Well, it looks like you could do some damage. Like, you could fucking stab someone with it.
Does he top it up when he goes to go get the head thing?
No, like, the doctor just gives it to him and it must automatically have
Because it only had
unlimited
5
credits.
credits on it.
That's what I
and
thought.
He bought some food for 2 credits.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But
And then she said the nurse said it was infinite credits or something,
Yeah,
so
so-
that's why he got the full hole in the head rather than the...
Yeah, well, I think the doctor just puts
Half-half.
unlimited credits from the start. He goes, oh, five credits. Let's put 1,000,000 credits. Let's go for it. Like, I don't think he just gets it with 5 credits on it.
so you must only get 5 credits every time.
No, because
Who
later
gives a
on
shit?
she says you've got unlimited credits on the one
Yeah,
machine.
yeah, I know.
so-
It's just strange.
And it's cute that money would still exist in 200,000 years from
Oh,
now.
but it's all credits. Everything in the future is credits. If our currency doesn't instantly become credits after like the year 2000, then what's the point?
But I don't think we'll be running around with a stick that we could stab people with our credit.
Yeah,
I
with
think
a
it'll
little
be
button
our
on the
phone.
end for some reason. What's the button for? It's a cryptocurrency, guys. It's a cryptocurrency. We solved it.
It shoots darts at you. I don't know. I don't know. It's stupid.
The doctor starts asking questions of the local humans who thinks he's a management test, and he finds out he's on floor 139 of Satellite 5. One of the employees is desperate to get to floor 500, where the walls are made of gold and from which no one ever returns.
Does that not seem odd to anybody to ask that question? Like if Rebecca and I, not BekTech, Rebecca and I, Miss Beck, we used to work together. Now, if she went up to management and I never saw her again, I would be rather concerned.
No, but you should just assume that I'm now better than you.
Oh,
so I have no
Yeah,
need
it's very
to...
nice up there. They have the executive toilet, so why would you come back down?
Yeah.
Why would I
to
slum
139?
it down with you on the ground floor?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe to have a drink
Although
occasionally.
Yeah, exactly. You would go down and visit
coffee?
your friends.
Yeah.
But then if the weird stabby stick is the thing that's got all of the credits and the money, then why is gold even worth something?
Thank you, Beck. Thank you for pointing that out.
Well, it's a bit round of applause.
Because that
Thank
was
you
my
so
thoughts
much.
exactly. It's like, why is money even an issue here?
Well, do you know how difficult it is to make the walls out of that money stick? Like,
Yeah, and there's all those shooting dart
that
buttons.
That plastic, wow, that's hard to produce.
Yeah.
No, they just cover the walls like wallpaper and those things, and people are like scanning, going, "Did any of these have money left on them?"
Although he did say that the world had been held back about 90
later on,
years. Yeah.
later on,
90 years.
Yeah.
Just the 90.
exactly 90 years.
Yeah.
And how long has this station been running for? Oh, I don't know, 91 years. Oh, what a coinky dink!
Because I got to tell you, Kathika annoys me.
Yeah. Totally.
I thought the character's name was Catheter when they first said it, so I had to read.
Oh, she does spout some shit, doesn't she?
She's probably the worst kind of journalist you could get. Why does that not work?
No,
I don't know.
she's only called a journalist because she's
Yeah.
not an actual journalist
Yeah.
as we know it. But the doctor keeps referring to her being like, "You're a journalist, off you go." And it's like, no, obviously a journalist has changed, and now a journalist just sits in a friggin' chair and they're like, "I'm a journalist."
And I think he could have made a bit of a callback to Sarah. He should have said she was I knew some journalists who would dig.
It's like saying you're a blacksmith and then like just buying all your nails from Bunnings. Like, "Oh, I'm a blacksmith." No, you're not.
What an odd call.
I was going to say, what an interesting
Analogy.
example
Yeah,
to
analogy.
choose.
What an odd analogy.
Do you have anything better?
No.
I have something probably more current.
Oh, what is it?
Ooh.
No, I don't.
Thinking
of blacksmith.
Guys, I'm a blacksmith and I get all my nails from Bunnings.
I don't know any blacksmiths.
Exactly.
Don't you?
No.
Exactly.
I know, except
Excuse me. I watch Forged by Fire, and I swear every 5th person must be a blacksmith. There are a lot of dudes on that show.
Oh, really? The only
You have to
blacks-
see one woman,
Oh,
one woman,
really?
but
One women.
One women.
one
the one
women.
women.
That's
That's
one
how-
women.
That's how I refer to my
Just
women.
the one. I
Just
don't
the
know
one,
the
sir.
lot.
Yes, thank you.
Just the
That's all
one
I can
thing.
handle.
Okay,
Just the
we're
one.
taking a really bad
I have
detour
unlimited
right now.
credits.
Satellite 5 broadcaster news. Sorry, they are the news.
Oh, yeah.
Except that they're not the news. The news is that the face of Bo is expecting baby Bomina.
Bomina.
Aw.
Where does the face of Bo gestate the fetus?
Exactly.
In the cheeks.
In the cheeks.
Could be.
It spits
the
it out.
nostrils.
It's like a frog. It spits them out.
That would be so much easier to deal with if you could just spit them out.
Where does Captain Jack keep his babies?
I don't know. I don't
Same place
know.
he keeps his gun.
Oh, up the butt.
Bedside table.
Yeah, no, we saw an episode where he's completely naked and then he pulls a gun out and they go, where'd you
It's
get
the-
that from? And he
It's
goes,
the
you don't want to
sister
know.
episode of this.
Yeah,
one.
it's the one that
It's
goes
in
on
this
from this
one.
one. They are in fact broadcasting the news on 600 channels, no less. Now they say that they seem to think that that's a lot of channels. There's currently estimated that there are over 25,000 channels all over the world.
Yeah.
So unless it's only 600 channels, only the news, and only in English, that's not a huge amount of channels.
But what was interesting was that the theme that they used the news to keep people afraid. And that's what resonated with me now.
Like, that's obviously what they were poking at that. Because when 2005
2005, yeah.
Yeah. Also, what we just had
before Trump.
We just had Bush and Kerry at election.
Yeah, and we were kind of in the middle of the Iraq War.
Yeah. We were 2 years in, and in the UK, Tony Blair was still there, and at the time, I believe, and I haven't fact checked this at all because I'm thinking of it right now. I believe that's when there was controversy around Blair and his use of the media to get political agenda, as well as the media had just sold the Iraq War on a whole bunch of non-facts.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, worldwide, which was obviously Murdoch media. It was fresh in 2005, this concept, but
It's still around today,
Now
yeah.
it's like, well, that one media conglomerate doesn't really. Things have got weird now compared to
Yeah,
that. So it's almost like when I was watching, going, oh, this is dated now. That concept, like it was fresh then.
Oh, really? I think it's still relevant.
It was still relevant,
to today.
but it's been relevant because it's been relevant all the way from
Oh,
2005 to today, basically. The first thing the Jaggerfest must have done was get rid of all the copies of 1984, considering how much they're cribbing from that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know.
Like, oh, there's all these terrible things that we should be afraid of. Like, oh, I'm sorry, it's like this book we've all read.
They always say, that it's all going downhill when people start burning books.
It worked out fine in Germany.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, it did. I mean, now they're ruling the world and stuff. Yeah, that was.
Hey, in Russia, when you burn books, you just get another night of warmth.
No, in Soviet Russia, books burn you.
Oh, boom.
Boom.
Woo.
So bad.
But the doctor and the workers are being watched, so they are actually the news.
Yeah, being watched by Simon Pegg.
That's right. This week's guest star, albino Simon Pegg, is watching.
Is he albino or is he just bloody freezing cold and never gets any sun?
Yeah.
He's just British.
Ah, I see. He asks his frozen assistant to run a security check on the 3 people he's watching, including the doctor. Meanwhile, Adam watches as Rose slurps on her beef slush puppy.
Look, I didn't like Adam from the beginning. I didn't. No, not you.
I'm glad you've stuck with me for so long, considering how much you hate me.
I hear you, sister.
I've really disliked you.
Is that why you record in a separate room?
Yeah.
Throwing darts at a picture of me?
As I said to Beck, he's a really nice guy, but I can't stand him.
But ...
You didn't know where it was going with him. And I'm sort of thinking, I wouldn't have given him money. I wouldn't have given him a TARDIS key. And I wouldn't have left him on his own.
Here's a bit of information that you guys don't know. So in the previous episode, we meet Adam, and this is basically the only time he goes traveling. But when we meet Adam, he is working for a literal supervillain. Like,
Did you watch
So
it?
I watched, because I watched
Ah.
The Long Game, and then I thought I needed a bit of context, so I went back. And I
watched
must
Dalek.
admit, I was disappointed there was not a Dalek in sight in my episode.
Oh.
And so then I went and watched the episode before, which was just Daleks out the wazoo.
Yeah.
So I got who he worked
Yeah.
for, and he was just a bit
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he was just a bit insipid. There was nothing about him that I thought was particularly compelling. I think it was circumstance that got him brought through, the circumstance he came from, not the fact that he was anything.
Yeah, I just think it's because Rose had the hots for him.
I think if he had been in a few episodes and then he did the switcheroo, that would have meant so much more. But they didn't have time in this season
No.
because basically they have to just go off and, we're basically halfway through the season. You don't have time to develop that guy's character. But yeah, all you need is him like stroking a cat and being like, hello, Dr.
Yeah,
Bond.
I know. It's interesting to someone to have watched it beforehand and go, well, what did you think of him? Yeah, insipid. I didn't want him to hang around.
So was he only in that Dalek episode and then this one?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, and then the research that I didn't do, the hundreds of hours of research that...
Hundreds.
Hundreds of hours
That
that
Andy-
Adam-
Wait, when you say
Adam
you
did.
did research on the year 200,000, did you say you did 200,000 years of research?
Adam, that is absurd. That is literally impossible. It's been a week since I watched the episode.
I'm so sorry.
Why would you ask me that question?
I don't know, Andrew. I don't know why I'm doing any of this. I
He's
don't know why I started this goddamn podcast.
He's nonsensical, that's why. just his way. He asks me the
I think it was about
weirdest
3 hours. I kind of went down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Actually, it was probably, you know what? It was probably around 10, to be honest.
Oh, really?
It was somewhere between
Yeah.
3 and 10.
Did you
Actually, it was 7
Did you go
days.
down a rabbit hole with kittens and dogs and...
There might have been some lolcats peppered in there. Yeah.
One of the things I was reading was that the character Adam, God, there's a lot of Adams for me to be keeping.
Well, no, there's Adam, Andrew.
Oh,
Andrew, yeah.
Yeah.
It's A's.
Adam in the
It's all
episode.
A's.
There's Adam the
Sorry.
first man. Yep.
Sue, if I remember Sue.
Yeah, Susan.
I'm
Lazy Susan.
happy with the lazy Susan.
That's what I call him.
The episode was unique in that it was the first and only time that a companion has been evicted. Is that right?
Yeah,
Well-
that actually, no other companion's been evicted that I know of. I mean, they've left or they've had to go, but no one that I can think of has ever been said, right, that's it, get out.
Well, in my research, I found out that Russell T Davies back in the 80s had submitted a story to the guys, to the Doctor Who team, saying he wanted to do a story about a failed companion. So someone who becomes a companion but doesn't do it very well.
Yeah.
So when he obviously started writing it, he's like, oh, I have to do this idea of because we see these companions and they travel with the Doctor. So
And
yeah,
they're amazing.
Yeah, so he's like, okay, I want to have a shit companion. And, let me say, he nailed it. He
Yeah.
absolutely nailed it.
He did, although there are those times, and Christopher Eccleston does it more than David Tennant does with Rose, but he'll go, I only take the best, and I've taken Rose, and she turns around with this smug look on her face, and I kind of go, yeah, I didn't like that.
Well,
And
I was
but
also her attention to detail in the episode that if I let my mobile phone out of my sight,
Yeah.
I know where it is and who's
Yes.
got it, and I need it back. And she gives him her mobile phone and then just
Yeah.
forgets about it.
Yeah.
And he goes off and
And gives him the TARDIS key.
yeah.
Oh,
And
that was
it's
that
good
was
to know
the thing that
200,000
annoyed me.
years from now, they've still got 3G mobile service. So that's
She has like an old Nokia phone. Like, here you go.
play some Snake.
Yes.
But it was her phone when she started travelling with
Yeah,
him.
I know,
and
I
so
know.
he just amped it up for her.
But the thing that annoyed me was when she was like, here's the TARDIS key. And I'm like, oh my God, do not give him, fine,
yeah.
give him the phone if he wants to call his goddamn parents, but don't give him the TARDIS key.
And the money.
The Doctor kind of hands him the money.
Why doesn't he hand it to Rose then? You know what women are like? She'll
Because-
just buy handbags.
Oh, Nicchia.
Oh, that was a cut. That was a cut line.
me making fun of men.
Adam talks about how everyone and everything he knows is gone. Strange that he should get so hung up on his family, considering that we found him living in America, working in a top secret private bunker where you're more likely to get your memories wiped and be dumped on the side of the road than to apply for leave to go and visit your family.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Seem hung up about his family then, did he?
Well, I'd love to be in the job interview where he was successful for that job working for the arch villain, because he didn't strike me as the type that would have impressed
No.
at the interview.
Well, apparently, when they released the Dalek episode, they had a website that printed a fake article in story and were like, 14-year-old Adam Mitchell wins a essay
yeah.
competition from Henry von Staten. And I'm like, that's how he gets the job? An essay? And basically, how would you meet an alien? And he goes, oh, I'd steal their technology. And Harry von Staten's like, I want that kid working for me. Because the episode we meet him in is set in 2012, which was like 7 years in the future from this episode, from when these episodes were released.
It's all very strange.
And that becomes most evident when he looks up the history of the microprocessor and he goes, the microprocessor is made redundant in 2019. And I was like, really? Is it? We still have microprocessors
It's
now.
still here.
They're not going anywhere.
No.
Yeah.
We just stick more of them on.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, mine like 16 quad, bro.
There's still another 7 months of the year left.
Yeah,
True.
that's right.
We could go into single molecule transfer or whatever the fuck it was.
Quantum.
I hope so.
Quantum.
Quantum.
I'm all for quantum.
The washing powder.
Yeah.
Didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I'm all for it. It's really good and fresh smelling.
Now it's
I
good
just
that
randomly rave.
random rave.
Oh my god.
And that's our visit from the random raver traveling through time and space, raving his tits off.
That was such a good FM radio
Right.
voice.
It's a good thing that Adam's mother's number was never given to anyone else in all of human history, and he manages to connect straight through leaving a message.
Yes.
He does make a thing of like, oh, do I need to put in a thing? And she's like, just dial.
An Earth code.
Yeah, like +61.
But they reuse
7.
numbers all the time. Like at work, they've given me a work phone, and it's obviously a SIM that has been given to somebody else as a work phone, and they obviously used it for fucking everything, because now I get a shitload of messages about absolute bullshit of like, are you bringing your daughter to netball? And I'm like,
Hell yeah.
I've got to go
Why
find
wouldn't
her
I?
first.
I get phone calls where they're like,
As soon as I get one.
I got a phone call and I was like, oh yeah, mate, I got a coffee. Where are you? And I'm like,
With my daughter
what?
at the netball.
What? You dickhead.
You've obviously just spoken to this guy. How do you not know that his phone number has changed?
This is the guy trying to cull people from his life. So you just change your phone and God help the person who gets your
I
number.
get messages from friggin' libraries to say his books are late.
I mean, it could be worse. You could be getting...
Who uses a library? Sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
Who? We used to.
Libraries where you download your consciousness and then you get saved there for the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
I thought as much.
Yeah.
I thought as much.
It could be worse. He could have been a mass murderer.
He could have
And
been
then you'd be getting those texts.
He could have been getting, like,
What, text?
invitations to
Yeah,
different
he could have been
things.
having a wild affair, although...
That's where you just go along with it and see
Oh, yeah,
how
I
much
was- yeah,
shit you can
yeah.
get that person into.
Yeah.
A whistle blows and everyone goes back to work. The doctor calls out to Adam and Rose, and Adam uses the chance to keep the phone, if you know what I mean.
Oh.
Simon Pegg is returning totally fine security checks on everyone on the screen, including the 3 people from the past who have no record of.
And did you all think it was going to be the Doctor and Rose?
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
Although I did wonder how his helpers were helping on account of being dead
He
as
said
well.
he said
Yeah.
it was the chip in the head keeps working, so
Yeah.
they're puppets. Yeah. Isn't that lovely? We've got a use after death.
If we get a chip. We don't.
Why not
'Cause
just
we don't
hack
have a
their
chip.
heads off and sit them on a bench?
Yeah.
Too macabre for the doctor.
Well,
Too
'cause
macabre, they need the
because,
hands.
Yeah, the machines
Fair
need
enough.
the hands. Yeah,
Well,
you need
hack
the
the
hands.
hands. The hands
Yeah.
and the head.
So cut
Stick
the
'em on
head
a
off
stick.
and leave the rest. You don't need the head.
But
Yeah.
you need the optical nerves and the
Oh.
hearing because he's sitting there telling
Yeah,
them
that's
what to
right. If
do.
he's telling you something and your head's in another room, you're never going to hear him.
Oh,
That
and
is
the
true. I
and the
hadn't
chip.
thought this
Yeah,
through.
you've
The
got to
chips-
think this
I'm so
through.
embarrassed.
If you're going to cut people's heads off and then tell them to do things.
And we're missing the most important point.
Oh.
The chip's in the back of your skull, so you need the head.
Oh, okay.
Cut your legs off.
And I suppose the special effects was spent on the suspended vagina with the teeth.
yeah,
So.
yeah.
That should be the other name for this episode: the suspended vagina with teeth.
Mm.
Can I put a quick caveat?
Caveat.
Oh, I
yes.
love it when you speak French.
Apparently, Elon Musk is about to launch the neural uplink. So talk about chips in head. Yeah,
wow.
apparently it's
Yes,
a new
please.
way to interface with information. So apparently, like downloading how to do things is not that far away.
Shit, yeah.
Is it weird that I find that so bizarre I don't think I could do it?
That is a perfectly reasonable
Yeah.
reaction to have.
Oh, thank God.
Like you'd be able to plug your head into a machine. I'm interested in it though because that would revolutionise. Imagine learning. Like you could do all
Yeah.
your schooling in a few minutes.
That's true.
But like, this is Elon Musk we're talking about. Is he still
Yeah.
trying to get people to Mars? Because he's been doing that for a long time.
Yeah.
Talking about that for ages.
well, he's just going to
Yeah,
upload
it's actually
you now.
he's killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happening.
I mean, he sent a car into space, and that's about it.
oh, and he's about to do astronauts too. It's actually quite impressive.
Is
Like,
astronauts the name of a new drug, or he's about to do astronauts?
He's sending his...
they're launching like weekly satellites.
Oh, are they?
They're-
I
Yeah,
didn't
it's
realise.
actually
I thought he was a crazy man.
no. He's refreshing.
the
to,
last one.
Yeah, it's actually interesting because he's finally someone comes along, backs up what they're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So when he talks about how like we're about to launch these things and build the biggest rocket, and then it happens, and then he's saying this neural uplink, it's like okay, well he's doing all the things that he's talking about.
They're sending
Neural
their
uplink. Weird.
first commercial flight to the moon.
Oh, okay.
Commercial flights to the moon. Is
Yeah,
that Elon or...
No, that's Elon. They've actually picked the guy. He's a Japanese artist who's picking 6 to 8 other artists all to go for a commercial flight to the moon, and then they have to come back to Earth and make artwork based on the commercial flight.
Wow.
Not Chester then, because he's Japanese. It's not a very Japanesey name.
Is that something we missed?
Yes. When BekTech said they've got it. She's got an astronaut, and Beck said to me, his name's Chester, and then she goes, he's Japanese, and he blah blah blah, and then I'm thinking he's not Chester. Sorry.
The doctor watches Kathika work as she sucks up hard for floor 500. The other workers are all sitting around on the floor like bloody animals.
Yeah, why can't they? One, is it a 60s love-in?
Yes.
You know, why can't you have a chair?
What's a 60s love-in?
We
Ask your
usually do that for
parents.
the bonus episode.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. We'll talk about that later.
Get your clothes off. You can keep your adult diaper on for that one.
Oh, good, because,
In
you know.
fact, we insist.
Yeah.
A reference that wasn't quoted in this podcast.
Oh, that's right. It has been now.
Yeah, use your imagination.
That was pre-talk.
Kathika jumps up on a chair, clicks her fingers, and a hole opens up in her head, showing her brain.
Now, Adam's really freaked out about this.
Yep.
And then he gets one.
Yeah.
That just didn't drive me
No, I
nuts.
know. It's so stupid.
It
Anyway.
is.
But
And I
the
mean,
nurse sold it. He had the credits. It was painless. It was less than 10 minutes.
and he was going to get all the info he needed.
Why wouldn't you?
Because you got a door in your head.
To me, that was the more compelling storyline in this was him, what's he going to do? Because that's the situation going, that'd be fun. Wouldn't it, being in the future going, how can I exploit this?
Well, because they also give him the Vomomatic. And I was like,
Oh, that.
what else did
that
they do
did
to him?
my head in.
Which makes
Oh, I
no
want
sense.
that.
Yeah.
Why, like, you're just going to die choking on your solid spew.
And all I could think was, you're at a party, you've had too much to drink, you have a little vom, and then there's an ice cube and it's a party, and someone picks that up, and that has disgusted me since I saw it. And even reading the other day that it was the ice cube was a kiwi fruit and orange was the prop,
Yeah.
has made me even more disgusted at the
You're just
at the notion
in
of
the
it.
corner of a party just throwing up ice cubes.
Oh, who wants a mojito?
Now, is it just me or does Suki reminds me of Olivia Colman? The way she acts.
I think
and-
everybody reminds you of Olivia
Probably.
Colman.
I'm in love with Olivia Colman. I started
Yep.
a podcast to bring it up. I know she's married with kids and she has an Oscar, but someday
Yeah.
she will realise,
That she loves you, Adam.
of course, and I will tell you, I've got a girlfriend.
Yeah. And I still won't
It's
believe
Olivia
it.
Colman, guys.
No, she doesn't look like Olivia Colman. She
Doesn't look like Olivia Colman, but she acts like Olivia Colman, the way she acts.
I don't know. I like the fact that she sort of comes across as if she's. You don't expect her to be this mercenary. She comes across a little silly and a little, kind of. So
It may just be that she's British and British women act like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh.
no, I don't know.
And then they're
Catheter doesn't.
actually badasses.
Did you just call her catheter?
Oh yes, because you told me that.
Let's just keep going with catheter.
But Catheter's not like.
Adam says he's freaked out and would like to go hang out on the observation decks like a loser.
You know he's not going to do that. Don't
No,
you?
of course not.
I didn't think he was going to hang out on
Which
the
also,
observation deck.
which is not I was thinking, is this going to pass out again? That's not a safe place for him.
No. And look, I remember in the second episode when it all got a bit too much for Rose and she went to sit on the observation deck. She nearly
almost
died a
got
few
fried,
times.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, is that like a callback in other episodes?
Yeah, well,
Well, it is.
Every spaceship basically just has an observation deck because it sounds cool.
But I never picked that up. But yeah, she's a bit disoriented by it because it's just
I didn't pick that
aliens
up either.
everywhere the first time she goes anywhere. And she gets a bit sort of like he did, a bit sort of, I've just got to be on my own. So when he says that, she goes, oh, yeah, makes sense. But of course, no, he's not going to do that.
Suki arrives on floor 500 and finds it's a winter wonderland filled with mummified workers.
And you know what I said? Get back in the lift,
Yeah.
go down to one floor, to floor 139, and forget about it.
But it's all right because Simon Peggs, the editor, is there to greet her. He goes through Suki's interview questions but calls them out as lies, revealing that Suki is actually Eva St. Julien, the last surviving member of the Freedom 15. Not the most catchy freedom fighter group name, but all right.
Well, there's only 15 of them, so...
That's right.
Well, there's one now.
Yeah.
The freedom one.
And also, when you're telling the world how many people are in your
Yeah.
crew, like
Yeah.
you'd rather be the Freedom 50 million.
Yes. Yeah.
Like Freedom 15, fuck, that's
or
like
freedom
that's,
infinite.
That's,
Yeah.
that's get rid of them in the morning.
Yeah. I know.
Steve,
and look, it's
And not have to reload your
Steve
gun.
got captured, so we're the Freedom 14 now.
yeah. Gotta hate changing the name all the time. You've got
Oh, I
to
found two-
rebrand.
And then
found-
saying that you're the last remaining member of the Freedom 15, it's like, oh, well, I'll just pick you off
Yeah.
fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But I found two more members. We're the Freedom 16 again.
So no one's coming to back you up.
No.
Great, you've sold
Yeah.
yourself
Yeah.
really well here. Yeah.
Yep, you let 14 people die, and you're the last of it.
So you're the last remaining member of the Freedom Just Me.
The Freedom One. That's me.
Eva knows that the Satellite 5 is lying to people, manipulating the truth. She wants to know who the editor works for, and he is only too eager to comply. Introducing her to the alien voice in the roof, which swoops down and attacks Eva as she screams into the camera.
How does he kill them?
Eat them, I
No,
assume.
well, she doesn't look chewed.
Oh, yeah, true.
Budget cutbacks, I think, was the reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to use your
Spits it out.
imagination.
Oh, okay.
It just uses her head to, like, knock her over.
Maybe it freezes her to death?
Breathes on her.
Did they mention like the amount of calories it has to eat?
No.
Yeah, what does it eat?
No, there was mentioning
It's
of the. Oh no, that was with the.
dietary
I think we'll get
requirements.
into that later. I
With
don't want to start talking about something
the
regarding the
heat.
temperature.
Oh, yeah, send up 6,000 Kronk burgers.
And I'll have a beef
Probably
slushy.
eats ice cream.
Ice cream.
Or people spew.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's where all the ice cubes go.
Oh.
Send them up here.
Don't extend.
I
all
love
that.
kiwi and mango.
You're waiting for Adam to say
Yep.
something, aren't you?
On the observation deck, Adam is checking out all the information that the year 200,000 has to offer.
You know, he's the first companion to do that.
The last.
The last, yeah, but that is really interesting. In all the years, the Doctor's always picked fairly, good, decent companions. And Rose just flirts a little bit and brings along someone who's a ham-fisted idiot.
Well, Rose doesn't care about the microprocessor. We saw she doesn't even have a computer. She has to go to Mickey's place to use his computer.
Oh, that's true.
Adam scans through the history of the microprocessor, and the 90s web style graphics really blow his mind.
Look at all those word art.
Yeah,
titles.
wow. Oh, wow. This reminds me of GeoCities.
Is that Comic Sans?
The only way to talk
That'll
about the
always
history of the
be in
microprocessor.
fashion.
Catheter tells the Catheter tells the Doctor that she's only ever visited the medical floor and her own floor since she arrived at Satellite 5. But guys, it's totally fine. I'm sure the other floors are all good and they're filled with living, breathing people.
Yeah, she's not once looked. She's not,
She never questions.
No.
Also, why open up the medical floor like so many floors underneath?
Yeah, put it on floor 139 where everybody is.
Yeah.
Where did she get the cornrows? She must have been to the hairdressing
That's
floor.
right. There must be a hairdresser.
Hairdressing floor is floor 138. And
137 is family planning.
Perhaps Rose could have popped down there at some point just
to family
get a brush
planning.
through the bangs.
No, just to get a hair brushed. She does need a hairbrush. She gets one in the next season.
The Doctor explains that the human race isn't where it should be. The technology they're using and the attitudes they have aren't right for the time period. I'm pretty sure if he has an issue with the accuracy of a Doctor Who episode, he can bloody well go online and rant about it like the rest of us.
Exactly.
Or start his own podcast, goddammit.
That's right. Get on there and tell Russell this is not right.
Adam is trying to transmit the year 200,000 knowledge back to the year 2012. You'll notice that the fabled SMT system of which Adam speaks of has yet to appear.
What is the SMT?
Single molecule transaction or something.
Well, I hope somebody's working on that.
Transistor. I did look it up last night, and it's basically to do with like curing diseases and stuff. The computer that was happy to display all of the information before now tells Adam to go down to floor 16 medical. There he meets our second guest actor,
Yeah.
Tamsin Greig from The Green Wing and Black Books.
I love her.
I love her too.
And I think I love the nurse as a character. She's not there long, but she does a beautiful
She
job.
stood out in this episode.
I have to say,
yeah.
she's probably my favourite part of this whole episode because she is the only one who's like, this writing is terrible. She goes for it. She seduces Adam into getting a hole in his head.
I know.
Like,
I know.
she is chewing scenery up. Like, it is fantastic.
She is so good. I have to say, it's a bit of a blah episode.
Oh, yeah.
So it was good to see.
Well, she
her.
does better than Simon Pegg, who is actually trying to play it a little bit serious and add his own little thing to it. But Tamsin Greig is just going for it.
Yeah, I forgot that she was the nurse in it.
So Tamsin basically seduces Adam into getting a full info spike. The Doctor starts poking around and the editor notices. Rose wants to know why it's so hot, and it could just be because she's so hot for the Doctor.
That's it when he goes, look at Rose. She's asking all the right questions. And Rose is like, and I'm like, thanking you.
And the Doctor's like, you get a gold star. Wait, was I doing points?
Yeah.
The Doctor has hacked into the system. I like Rose.
Look, I do too. It jars a little bit in this season when he keeps going on about how great she is, and I know that they're doing that to let the new audience know that the Doctor only takes good people with him, but it just feels a bit heavy-handed.
Well, and they're really trying to push this idea because they've only got the one season of being like, Rose is in love with the Doctor. The Doctor has hacked into the system and found out that the aircon is going full bore, but only on floor 500. All that gold must be really hot.
Yeah, you got to keep it cool or it melts.
Adam's procedure is done. All he has to do is click his fingers. Now, that would be the first thing I changed.
Oh, I know.
Or I would at least ask, excuse me, can you tell me how I can change it from the default? Just in case I want to change it from a click of the fingers, you know?
Why did he not ask that question?
Yeah.
Because she says you can open your head up with whatever you like. I mean, I would not be keeping the clicking fingers. I would go for people yelling out supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Yeah.
No, but it sets the scene for the
Oh, yeah,
spoiler alert
definitely.
I know.
for the
But
end.
my first question would be, okay, can I only set it to when I click my fingers and not other people? Or when I say something, can it understand my voice pattern and then give it a phrase that you would never say?
Well,
know?
you would think it should be able to recognise your own voice.
Yeah.
If you can put something like that in your head. But anyway.
Like a click of the fingers would be difficult because everyone can click their fingers. But
Well, I can't. So.
And I just loved it. I loved the theatre of being able to click your fingers and then yell, "Spy!"
Yeah.
It's very
to a
sassy, isn't it?
It is. Going to a jazz pros performance would be really bad because they'd just be there giving you
Click,
snaps
click,
and
click.
your doors would be opening and closing all the time.
Oh, my God. It's stuck open. I don't know
it's
what
just
to do.
his head, don't worry. Someone comes along and they just start poking your brain. Like, oh, God, stop it.
Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
Stop poking yourself in the brain. Stop poking yourself in the brain.
I'm not.
What a great way to get a disease. You just go straight into your brain. You have flu on the brain.
Man
Someone
flu on the
sneezed into your brain.
Imagine if you're in the middle of a dust storm and someone clicks and you get all dust in your brain.
Travelling behind a cattle truck or...
So, yeah, like cow shit in your brain and a bit of
Okay,
weed.
can we get going before it digresses
Just a
any
bit of
worse
weed.
than
You get
Just
drunk
nothing
so
but
quick,
it's
you can just
gross.
pour the bottle straight into your brain.
Oh, Jesus.
bottle opener?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Hey, guys, check this out.
Open my stubby.
Yeah, I just
you
like to
do? I
sprinkle.
can say
I just
the
like to
alphabet
sprinkle a bit of
backwards.
cocaine straight into my brain.
I can say the alphabet backwards.
Oh, watch what I can do.
It'd be great at Halloween because you could just go with it open and be
Oh,
like,
that's
wow,
true.
oh, bro, that looks so realistic. Like, I know, right?
Yeah, don't touch it.
Yeah.
Stop touching it.
Put a little like cloth in there and have it as a place to store things. You're like, how much is that? $2. There you go. There you go.
Like a coin
I'd like
purse.
a little bird in it. Thinking,
I think you're all trivialising this amazing power. Personally, because you could just pop that money in your pocket.
Women
Yeah,
don't have pockets.
But where can you have a cuckooing bird
Yeah,
on your
exactly. Yeah, you
The
did.
highs
also-
I want one.
And in the future, like if he ever has like a passive aggressive, or he gets to be passive aggressive,
Yeah.
he's going like, you need to be more open minded. He's like, oh, do I?
body? Yeah, clear.
Is that right?
This.
And she starts poking his brain, like, stop it! That really hurts. Anyway, the Doctor and Rose head up to floor 500. After getting excited that Rose was joining him, the Doctor instantly tells her to go back.
Yeah, I know. I know.
happens so often.
And they're still doing the finger linking. It still feels weird to me. The hand holding finger linking? It's lovers to me. Friends hold hands like this. Nah, don't.
We-
Who
held
knows?
hands
They're on
in
the
here.
TARDIS by
I
themselves.
have-
Are we lovers?
Yeah, I always hold your hand like
You
that.
do. I find it very unsettling.
And I
so
hold your boob too.
Yeah, I wish you'd let go.
I will. I'm
You
letting
can
go.
keep holding onto my boob. They meet the editor who can't find a trace of them. I'm assuming that sometime between 2012 and the year 200,000, that Clive's website has been lost on the internet.
Oh, I would say so.
Or 2005
I think-
was when his
I think-
website was.
That must be what it is. The internet no longer exists.
It's all 12G now.
13G, Adam.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
13, yeah.
I'm still living in the past. I have a vintage phone.
You
I have a Nokia 3310.
Oh, God. No one's got that shit anymore. Except Andrew. Is he still asleep? Oh, he's awake.
Oh, hey, guys.
Hey, Andrew,
You're very
come back to
quiet.
us.
You're
Oh,
not
sorry.
normally
every
quiet.
Time
Don't click.
every time I
I've
click
been
my
talking
fingers,
shit all morning. I don't know what you're talking about.
just not here. That's all. It turns out that the frozen employees are dead, being moved around by the chips in their heads. The Doctor refuses to reveal who he is, so the editor just keeps blabbing on. Turns out the fourth great and bountiful human empire is actually ruled by the mighty Jagrafess of the holy Hadrajasic Maxidro.
Yes. Try again.
Turns out the fourth great and bountiful human empire is actually ruled by the mighty Jagrafess of the holy Hadrajasic Maxirodenifo, or Max for short. Boom! Nailed it!
Yes.
Beautiful.
First try.
Beautiful.
Kathika decides to use the Doctor's hacked terminal to get herself to floor 500, suddenly deciding that because she calls herself a journalist, that she is a journalist.
I'm glad somebody decides to do something.
Yes. Well, the Doctor and Rose get up there and they're like captured and they're like, well, I guess we're fucked then.
Yeah.
If Kathika hadn't gone up, the whole like human race would have just been destroyed.
Yeah, it's a lot like that in this particular season. The Doctor gets captured a lot.
Yes.
And doesn't have a way to get out, and someone else luckily helps
He
him
literally
out.
got captured in the previous episode. At least in this episode, the editor doesn't take his shirt off.
Oh, that's true.
Because in the previous episode,
Very
he gets
thin.
captured and he gets his shirt taken off. And you're like, oh, wow, how many layers were you wearing?
What was the handcuff, the standing handcuff device?
yes.
Was that a...
I have no idea. I
You
think
could have ninja kicked your way out of it. You could have...
I was going to say the set dresser must have a huge account of Bunnings because it was all like cords and pipes and ducts and
I don't
all
know,
over
but
the
I
place.
thought those handcuffs looked like something from 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
I have to
Saucy.
say, very saucy.
Well, if you'll see that Doctor and the Rose, they're like, oh, actually, we might need these. And they
Yeah,
take them
I'll
back
take
in.
these with me
Just pop them in.
because there's going to be no more Adam.
Kathika arrives on floor 500 and seems completely okay for someone who has just discovered that her fairy tale gold-coated
Yeah.
walls are frozen in disrepair. She's like, I don't have time to look at the fact that everything I've known is a lie.
I mean, you'd at least take some time to process
Yeah.
the fact that
She just stomps straight through.
yeah, she crossed.
The editor has worked for a consortium of banks which have basically decided to outsource running the world to the Jagrafess instead of doing it themselves like they do now. So much easier that way.
Well, maybe they have outsourced it to a Jagrafest. I mean, we've just had the Royal Banking Commission.
And there was-
no Jagrafest turned up, but that doesn't mean there isn't one.
Did anyone look up?
yeah, did
No.
anyone subpoena the Jagrafess?
No.
There you go. We're asking the hard-hitting questions here.
We are.
Now, Andrew, if you want to cover this for your YouTube channel, like we are ready to come on and talk about the Jagrafess.
And how it's running the Australian banking system.
I know that would kind of go against the true in true crime, but
What are
What?
you talking about?
Are you saying Doctor Who's not true?
no, I would never suggest that.
The workers are only allowed 20 minutes for maintenance in between sessions, which is why Adam is able to find an empty working bay when he wants to.
Oh.
Everyone's worked so hard, guys, but they're always on constant break.
Yeah, how long does it take? You sit there, you spike, it all goes through.
Maybe it takes 5 minutes and they get 20 minutes maintenance in between and they spend more time just on
Yeah.
break than they do actually working.
Well, they don't really do anything that I can tell, but anyway.
He calls his home answering machine and logs in, giving Satellite 5 all of the knowledge of the Doctor and Rose.
Yep, and there he is.
Yeah.
And as the key starts
Oh,
to move
isn't that
from
an
his
amazing effect where it's like
pocket.
obviously someone just pulling the key out? Oh.
and you go, ah.
The editor plans to steal the TARDIS. It's a good thing that Adam has the key. Otherwise, he might have had to take it off Rose or the Doctor, who are in no position to stop him.
Ah, true.
Because they were like, oh, Adam, how could you do that? And it's like, well, he could have just taken it off the two of you.
Exactly. Because the Doctor's asking questions and talking to feed information.
Yeah, exactly. But the editor says they could go back and stop the human race from ever developing, therefore stopping him and his banks from ever developing. I'm not sure why he thinks that's a good idea.
Yeah,
the
I
whole
don't know.
human race will be banks. Surprisingly, people don't think things through in this episode.
If you're a complete lunatic, do you think things through?
I don't.
No, we're a complete
we don't.
lunatic.
No, we don't think anything through on this podcast. And I refuse to have someone on who does.
That's obvious.
Kathika has heard all of this. She goes to an empty work bay, which she knows is there for some reason, and logs in. She disengages the safety, which apparently doesn't need a code or anything. You can just say disengage the safety.
Yeah.
That's how you work in safety. That's how it works.
Yeah, I
That's-
say that all the time. They say, oh, is there a safety issue? I go, oh, disengage safety.
Safety.
And everyone goes, well, thanks, you fixed it.
If you don't have safety, you don't have to worry about safety.
I know.
Duh.
People are dumb.
Kathika starts reversing. She takes control from floor 139, and Adam is freed from the system. Kathika starts reversing everything she's learned about Satellite 5 and the Jagrafess, which causes the aircon to shut down.
Did you like her being the hero eventually?
saviour.
The saviour. Let's go to Lacey's
I'm actually
session.
glad she got to be a hero because she was clearly a very motivated person. At first, I thought by self-interest, but also because, she's... And I love the way 200,000 years corporate attire is the same as 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's almost like when they rocked up to the set, and like, cool, 200,000 years, what do we wear? And Preach's like, it's what you're wearing now.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
yeah.
good.
It's
Great
good.
costume.
Yeah, that hair,
I mean, that's-
too modern. No, make it look like the 80s.
Well, that's also why they have no aliens, because they were like, just wear whatever you're wearing, just go on set,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're pretty cool around here at the...
Oh, I wore a low-cut top because I thought I was going to be changing. No, just go on set,
Yeah.
you're right.
It's the fucking BBC.
We're only going to be shooting you from above, so
Yeah.
don't worry about
No
it.
one will notice.
But I thought she was good as a hero. I'm actually glad she got to be a hero because, like, I could tell that she was someone who had that in her.
She did. She had gumption, didn't
Yeah,
she?
she's a character in the story that actually has a character arc. She starts off
Yeah.
totally, you know, I want to be promoted within the company, but then at the end she's been completely changed where she's like, no, I have to save the human race.
What about you, Miss Rebecca?
Talking about their clothes, one thing that I found really distracting was what Adam was wearing. What the character was wearing, that it was a really obvious logo shirt.
Yeah,
and like an acid wash flared pant.
Yeah.
But it was more the shirt and that even in 2005 when it was made that Catheter's wearing the power suit and of course the hair with the accoutrements in the hair.
Looking good.
Yeah, and I think of all of the things like when what was the one that went
Suki.
up? Suki.
Yeah.
When Suki got promoted, that she didn't even pack a bag or take anything. She's just popped into the lift. And I think of the practicalities of like, you know, well, undies, you know, some toiletries.
She did have a bag though.
She had a very
small
small one.
You're not fitting.
Wouldn't that be
You're not
another
fitting
red
power
flag?
suits
Like
in
whenever
that.
someone gets promoted to floor 500, we never see them again. They never come to visit. They don't take all of their stuff with them.
They don't say goodbye.
They don't say goodbye.
Yeah.
They disappear forever. Guys, it's almost
And
like they
they're
get murdered.
journalists. They're
Yeah.
not asking these questions.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing. This is supposed to be all journalists and nobody's asking any questions. And I find that maybe is a commentary on the journalism at
Whenever-
the time.
That's what I thought about
maybe
that
now.
too. It's like, was it commentary or just really lazy writing?
That's it.
I thought it was commentary.
Well, that's the thing I find with Doctor Who is that it's like I can't tell if that was intentional or not.
Sometimes it's lazy writing. I didn't think that was. I thought that was kind of the right place to do it because if you'd done it with a group of florists, maybe they wouldn't have cared.
It'd be interesting given
Or
given
blacksmiths.
the episode was originally pitched in the 80s for the piece about the companion being sort of, someone that wasn't an ideal companion. It would be interesting to know in the original pitch in the 80s whether it was that whole media piece was the flesh around it or whether it was something different.
Yeah.
And the piece that was consistent was the companion not being a nice person.
And
don't know.
also Rose has got a mobile phone. She doesn't go, where's everyone's mobile phones in the year 200,000? Like,
Yeah, no one really asks about that. Maybe you don't need them.
and if someone asks, I actually like to leave Satellite 5, I'd like to go back home, do they just automatically get promoted? Like,
Yeah.
everyone who complains about the living conditions get promoted to floor 500. It's, it's so strange.
But why would you want to leave if Earth's now got 96 billion people?
Yeah,
that's true.
It's far less crowded. Like there was no lineup for the Gronk burgers.
No.
There was.
Yeah, but
it
they're
was-
Gronk burgers. No
there
one
was
lines up for
Slim
Gronk burgers.
pickings.
Beef slush puppies. Oh, there's such a line
Good to
for
see
that.
the slush puppy made it through a 250,000 years as well.
Yeah, is Slush Puppy a brand or a product? Who knows? Rose is freed instantly, but she has to use the sonic screwdriver to free the Doctor. Rush to the lift to head to off floor 500. The editor chooses to do the same, but Suki's body grabs onto his foot and won't let go.
Loved that.
Another view down her top.
We did get another view down her top, but I also liked the fact that even though she's dead and the little chip,
Yep.
there's still that fighter
Yep.
in her that grabs the leg. I loved that.
The Jagrafess explodes from the heat, killing just the editor, I suppose.
Well, everyone else is dead.
I thought it blew up the whole floor, but yeah, anyway.
Just floor 500.
No, not even floor 500 because
Oh, really?
just that room. Because they're in the other room with Kathika when the Jagrafess explodes. Because the Doctor closes Kathika's info spike and they all head down to floor 139. Rose and the Doctor head off, safe in the knowledge that the human race will return to normal again. All right, guys, all right.
Sound like a drunk Frenchman there.
That's what I do when I
Sacre
get
bleu.
drunk. They take Adam back to his mum's house in 2012.
I loved this scene. This is the only scene in this whole episode that I really, really enjoyed. Besides the nurse, I enjoyed that.
Hello, nurse.
Love when he keeps clicking and it keeps opening up.
Stop opening up my head spike.
There's a
That's what
sentence
she
I never
said.
thought I'd hear.
Yeah.
You can hear it only here on D4WH.
And I like
Don't open up my head spike.
I like that Rose does it to him too.
The Doctor fries the answering machine, destroying Adam's knowledge of the future. Except that he does know the technology that will replace the microprocessor, so I assume he will just invest in that.
Well, the doctor said you've got to keep a low profile, or if people see the thing in your head, you'll get dissected, blah,
But
blah,
if you were returned to a point like 10 years before Google became a thing, you would just put all your money into Google. And you'd be like, oh, I'm fucking rich. The Doctor leaves him in 2012 to live a boring, average life, safe in the knowledge that he can't do anything for fear that people will find out about the future technology in his head and will dissect him for it. I mean, he could always just wear a hat,
a bandana, a sweatband.
a wig.
You've got a hat
Grow
on.
a-
You've got a hat on, Lazy Susan. Is there a hole in your head?
I know, but if there wasn't someone clicked, it wouldn't work. It looked like I'm getting a little hat boner. You could tip the lady, it's like, madam, and like click your fingers and you tip your hat without touching it. Be like, oh my, what a gentleman.
Or just,
That's all right. Just a hat boner.
I wonder how forcefully those things open. Could you just stick like a bit of tape on and then people click their fingers and it doesn't move? Like,
What about just a fringe?
Oh,
Just
yes.
grow a
just grow a fringe.
You have to rock the
This
beaver
is
though.
the thing with you, Miss Beck. You're just too sensible for this
But then,
podcast.
if you grew a fringe, you might get hair in the brain.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Another
that's my
sentence I
problem.
never thought I'd hear.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you can get water on the brain.
And now you can get hair.
Hair on the brain. Grow a fringe and wear a sweatband. Double.
Well, there's also the vomomatic, but then I suppose the Doctor doesn't know about that. He's still
that
got
one,
that.
That one's going to be fantastic.
The Doctor and Rose disappear in the TARDIS as Adam's mum returns home. She's so happy to see him. In fact, the time has gone by like a snap of the fingers.
That is the worst bit of writing ever.
It's very corny.
It took me a while to write this episode. Thank you very much. Don't criticize it.
Not you.
I know.
The Doctor Who episode.
Also, 6 months? Are we to believe that Adam's only been away from home for 6 months?
Well, it seems a lot longer than that he worked for Henry Van Statten. Although,
Yeah.
if you're still alive working for Henry Van Statten and you're not a homeless junkie, then, you probably don't last long. So maybe 6 months. Maybe 6 months.
And that's it for another episode. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. As we always like to do, we like to give the episode a score out of 5, 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest. Who would like to go first?
I'll go
Look,
first.
oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Anything that Tom Baker was in, I would say would have been a 5 for me. So
Okay.
I didn't particularly gel with this Doctor. He wasn't really my cup of tea. I'd give this episode a 3.
A 3?
A 3 for introducing me back into the Doctor Who world.
And if Tom Baker was in this exact same episode, you just give it a straight 5?
Straight 5. He'd just have to roll up with that hairdo and that scarf.
I watched The Ark in Space and I didn't give it a 5, that's for sure.
Yes, I always liked The Ark in Space until we did a review and I watched it again. Okay, what about
Andrew?
you, Lazy Susan?
Let me give him my back because I think my assessment might upset some people.
Oh, no.
Let me give you a 20 minutes pseudo-intellectual interpretation. I think I appreciate, and I think I might have spoken about this the first time you had me on, was that I appreciate Doctor Who, but I've never fully invested in it.
Yeah.
And I think this episode really demonstrated why I don't, because I find that they let themselves down with the corniness to a point where I'm like, I can't suspend my disbelief here.
Yeah.
I know that this is all just... Like, and even when they walked in that room and it's echoing, it's like, wow, you guys didn't even consult a proper sound guy for this.
Yeah.
And also,
That's
Britain
your
has-
biggest problem with the episode, is they didn't
and then
consult a
going
sound
into-
guy?
I understand, like BBC, there's a budget. It's
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
small, and I respect that. But surely, they don't have to get people just from Britain. But there's so much writing talent in Britain, especially with science fiction stuff. It's like setting an episode 200,000 years in the future. How much fun can you have with that?
And as a point, this episode was written by Russell T Davies, who is considered to be one of the best Doctor Who writers ever.
I felt like it was very lazy at certain points. And also the thing they were talking about, even in 2001, it wasn't like this brand new concept of like, hang on a sec, is there like one person controlling the media? That's for 100 years. We've had 100 years of that. I'm going to give it 1 star.
1 star.
Hey,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
that is
Wow.
fine. Look, the first episode that we got Andrew to watch had Alan Cummings in it. And it was a corker. So, and then when I realised we got him to watch this one, I thought, oh, this is going to put him off. I'm the same. I didn't like this episode the first time round. I didn't like it the second time round. I can see the bits in it, but it just, I don't know. It's not my Doctor Who. It's not something that I like.
Are you saying hashtag not your doctor?
No, it is.
no.
It is my Doctor, but it's just not what I love about Doctor Who. And Christopher Eccleston, he was a different Doctor. There are bits of his performance that I love. I loved him in the one before Dalek. Didn't like him much in this one. Between a 2 and a 3, I haven't quite worked out.
Well, you gave Dalek a 3.5.
Yeah, but I really liked Dalek, so this one's a 2. Definitely.
Did Christopher Eccleston, is that why he left? Because he and the writer
Yeah,
had a famous falling out?
Apparently,
Is that
yeah.
Apparently, yeah. He was not happy with the quality of the writing.
He has never definitively said why.
No,
He's
that's
also
true.
said that there was stuff happening on the set that he was not happy with and people were being treated badly, and so he decided to leave. Instead of, I don't know, reporting it so that people could get better working conditions.
It wasn't just him, it was also Billie Piper. Like, she was really considering leaving as well. But
Really?
then David Tennant came along and kind of, made a rethink.
Reinvigorated
Yeah.
it,
So,
yeah.
and can I ask, would you rate this higher than the Sarunga Conundrum?
God, they'd be the same for me.
You can't put one above the other.
All right, no, I would, because I liked Ribbons, the one with the world's worst title, a little bit ahead.
It's making me feel nostalgic because the Sarunga Conundrum was the first episode I edited, and Andrew Dawson was the first one that I recorded with. I was just like, reliving my firsts.
Well, this whole episode has been just for you, Beck. That's why we reviewed this episode, which you love so much.
Yep.
Beck, what do you give it out of 5 then?
Oh shit, now you're asking me. All the pressure's on me. I'd probably give it a 3.
Okay, why?
I like the connection, the sister episode. I'm terrible with names.
The one before.
No, the one after.
The one after.
yeah.
Like, it's not particularly an amazing episode, but it's actually one of my favourites. And I like the fact that it actually connects to that one.
Okay.
So without this episode, the next episode wouldn't make much sense. I don't know. Nobody let me talk ever.
I've said paper
All right,
bag, no microphone.
Okay, well, that's the end of Beck ever talking again. Glad we mic'd her up. No, it was fine.
Come on now, Adam, what do you give it?
I'm going to give it a 2 because a few months ago I started watching the season 1. Before we started doing the podcast, I started watching the season 1 again. And I watched this episode, and then when I realised we had to do this episode this week, I was like, do I really want to watch this episode again? It's a blah episode.
It is blah.
And what it feels like is, it feels like there was a hole in the season and they went, oh, screw it. I'll just write a quick episode that's set in the same location that we've already built for another episode. We'll just say it's a different time period and we'll just crack one out and, and that'll be it. It's like a filler episode, basically.
It really is, and it feels like a filler episode.
It's not Russell T Davies' best work, that's for sure. Oh my God, nowhere near it. It does have a lead in from the previous episode, which is nice. It does tie into, the season finale, which is nice. But I can't give it a 1 because for me, a 1, I would have to absolutely hate an episode to give it a 1. And there's nothing about this episode to hate. Technically, because it's just blah, because it's just boring, I should give it a 3. But I like Dalek better than I like this episode. And I gave Dalek a 3, so this has to be a 2. It's just blah, it's just whatever. Adam sucks. The story sucks.
Rose is a smug pain who needs her hair brushed. The doctor's, I don't know, just rude.
It shows the worst out of every character.
Oh,
and
it does.
My highlight of the episode is a side character, is someone who's just...
The nurse.
Like, that character could be played by anyone and could have been boring as the rest of the episode, but Tamsin Greig is just chewing scenery. She is loving it. She
nails it.
She could have been Missy. Like, with that performance, she could have been Missy.
She would have been a great Missy. But it's like when you had Chris Noth in the new series. He was just chewing the scenery up too. And Alan Cummings. Just chewing the scenery.
When you've got actors like that who are just loving the time that they're putting in and they're like, I am on Doctor Who. I mean, what's the director going to be like? Oh, can you dial it back a bit? Well, just do it again, But they took the best, that she gave and they let her go for it and it was fantastic. What I'm saying right now is let's have a Doctor Who spin-off that's just that nurse.
Oh, I love it.
That'd be great.
Hello, nurse.
Hello, nurse. Hello, Lefty.
All right, so I give it a 2.
Yeah, no, look, and I can understand that. I was not looking forward to reviewing this one even, so I'm sorry that we made you watch it.
I was just going to say, on behalf of Andrew and I, thanks for giving us such a shitty episode.
Someone had to watch it.
Get it.
Yeah, we were watching the whole of season 1, so someone had to watch it.
Miss Beck, because it's
my
very
ears are
confusing here having BekTech and Miss Beck.
We'll call Beck the artist.
Yes.
Oh, thanks. Oh,
No.
her.
Oh, yeah. So everybody who comes on the podcast has to have a Doctor Who, a Time Lord name. So Andrews is
Lazy Susan.
because he's going to sleep through everything and then turn up later.
Because he spends
Like, guys, the problems have sorted out. Awesome. I'm just going to pretend I
never
was part of
sleep.
this victory.
Yeah, I'm just
Andrew rocks up to every situation. He's like, guys, what's going on? I had a big night last night.
My voice has gone all gravelly.
Once I finish,
KFC, anyone?
yeah, once I finish my Coke and my coffee and my water and my
I'm glad you
juice
guys
and my
didn't
milk.
notice that I was on my second bottle of 600ml Coke. I had it hidden under the table.
I know.
Jesus.
I know he was trying to hide it, but I
Yeah,
could
but
see
then
it.
it fell over and I couldn't reopen it because otherwise it's going to go.
Oh, refreshing.
ASMR.
And if Coke's
So happy I found an opportunity to open this because, oh my God, I need caffeine.
And if Coke would like to sponsor us, either the drink or the drug, please get in contact with me. That
Yeah,
will-
not me.
Maybe
'cause
that's
I'm
where
a
the Mick
Pepsi
Jagger.
Max.
Maybe that's where the Mick Jagger face is working.
Okay, let's continue.
Well, that's what happens. I drink too
Oh
much
yeah,
Coke.
sorry. This isn't about me, is it?
No. God, Andrew, everything's about you. You know that. But we'll have a little chat to Rebecca now. Just
About you.
about you. What do you think of Andrew?
Andrew's pretty shit guest, isn't he? Why do we get him on?
Stars out of 5.
No. So
Oh, you think you're a
I'm
star?
certainly impressed at his fluid intake.
I know, me too. And
Pop that on your Tinder profile.
Yeah, I can intake a lot of fluid
Ladies-
and not
my
let go.
God.
Ladies
Fluid
love,
game
say that.
strong.
Oh.
Winky face.
my God.
ladies love my fluid intake.
So could I give you a choice because I have thought of this and I think who I am could be the needy, but who I aspire to be is the food wanker. And so I don't
Food
know
wanker.
Yeah.
Yes, you are the food wanker.
Okay. All right,
Okay,
that's
the
it.
food
I'm the
wanker it
food
is.
wanker.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
You imagine her at Satellite turning up at the station.
Do you guys have any kombucha shakes?
Are
Really?
these Gronk burgers organic?
This Gronk burger is not Instagrammable.
Are your Gronks grass fed?
Yes. Organically sourced Gronk.
Where's the truffle?
Do you shave truffle on your Gronk burger? All right, so I'm the food wanker.
You can be the food wanker.
Thank you.
Because you're not needy. You're
Aren't I? Oh,
No.
thank you. Don't you think? Do you think I'm not needy?
Well, if you-
What do you guys think?
When
do you
I
think
first-
I'm needy? Be honest. Seriously.
You can let go of Rebecca now. BekTech, let her go. Let her go.
Yeah.
Let her go. She's got to leave.
Look, I know the Daleks are attacking, but you've tried this salad? The acai berries really make it pop.
And as he turns up with his KFC from his big night out.
Yeah. It turns out the best way to roast a chicken is just with Dalek guns.
Do you know, it actually, I was thinking like, oh, I've got to be here at 10 a.m. KFC's not open yet.
It's a worry. It's a
Body's
worry.
a temple, isn't
This
it?
may be
Yeah.
like the moment when
Andrew's,
I realised that
Andrew's body's not a temple.
that Andrew is my
It's a brothel.
spirit animal.
I've been feeling a connection between us, Adam.
Yeah, and the KFC just connect. Like, I think my Patronus is an Andrew Dawson. Does anyone get that reference?
No, I
Yes,
don't.
I do.
I completely lost it.
No, over my
I need a
head.
shirt that says my Patronus is an Andrew Dawson, and then no one will understand it.
I don't understand
I'll
that either.
make
I
that.
don't know if it's a
And he's
compliment or
Andrew
a
Dawson.
weird.
I'll make
Yeah.
It is. You're my protector.
Oh,
it. Don't you understand what a Patronus is either?
No.
Have you watched
Isn't it
Harry
a type
Potter?
of tequila?
Oh,
it's a Harry
Potter.
I'm not
I
even
have.
a Harry Potter fan and I got it.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I've watched all the movies and I
I think
enjoyed
everyone
them.
has.
It's a big
What, all
part
the
of the
movies in
last
the
few
world?
movies.
I think a couple of people watched the movies too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
couple.
I mean,
One or two, yeah.
more than you would have thought.
All right, thank you very much. Beck, do you have any plugs?
No, none at all.
Fantastic. That's why I started with you,
That's
Andrew.
the quick one.
Well, I'll avoid the Adam part of my brain that heard the word plugs, and go with no. I think last time we spoke, I was
Going to the Melbourne International Comedy Festival.
yes, and
How did
after
that
it actually went real good.
Oh, awesome. Glad to
Yeah,
hear.
I had a lot, to the point where so many people came along. I'm like, "Are you guys at the right show?" Like, physically, I'm like, I don't know these people. And
I saw an A, so I guess you're Adam Hills, right?
It's like, wow, Will Anderson's really let himself go.
I didn't know Will Anderson drank so much caffeine.
Yeah, his fluid intake is
I am
incredible.
so glad that it went that well. So, how many shows did you do?
I just did two. I did 2 nights. First night sold out, which was honestly unexpected.
So
That's
first off, how
fabulous.
many patrons, and second off, how much did you make? Let us know all the details. No, I'm joking.
No, we're kidding about that. No, but that's really good. I'm really
Yeah, it was
pleased.
fun, and I'm like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like there was, I think, 1,100 individual acts. So like I kind of brought back to reality. I'm like, wow, this has been successful. I'm like, oh yeah, everyone's doing month runs. And
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
was fun. It was the first time I've done a solo comedy
Yeah.
festival thing, so that was good. It's a bit of fun. Coming up, my friend Dooney and myself, we are going to do a split bill for the Briz Funny Fest.
Oh, good. I love Dooney.
Working title there is sodium pentothal, which for you nerds out there is truth serum. And which I'm kind of like, I don't want people to think like, oh, I can tell you the truth about things. It's more so like, I just like a bit of a pretentious title.
I thought you
Yeah,
were saying
like how you had ambient excuses and I
Yeah.
only got it halfway through seeing the show. I was just like, Oh,
Yeah, because it was
that's what that
topical
is.
a lot. Yeah, if it wasn't topical back in August last year, it certainly wasn't topical in April this year.
You went down to Melbourne International Comedy Festival to do your own solo show, so now for Bris Funny Fest you're just going to do a splits?
Yeah, because I've realised that coming up with a whole new hour is something of which I don't feel confident doing in a few months. So, I mean, I could. It'd be bland though.
So go,
Much like this episode.
Sounds awesome.
And it's actually quite exciting, like going down from the being able to rely on someone else. I'm like, oh, it's like if you run a marathon, you're like, that was hard. And you're like, what? I've only got to do 10Ks next week. Who's a piss?
Yeah.
Like so I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. It's at Ether Brewing on the 9th and 10th of August.
Oh, fantastic.
cool.
You can find all the details on brisfunnyfest.com. And,
Will we put them on D4WH
and we'll
as well?
share it on D4WH.
Thank you so
once
much.
the
You guys
posters
are
done.
amazing.
Do you have a Facebook? Andrew Dawson comedian or whatever?
I've actually avoided doing that because I don't want people to see like 25 likes and be like, well, he's not doing so good. So I can figure a way to like just manufacture likes, which I think you can do. But I'm like, if it's 50,000, I think people are going to go, I think he might have bought some Russian trolls there.
But yeah, well,
I
then
think
they
he
turn up.
likes himself.
Then they turn up to your show and it's just your mum. You're like, oh shit.
Hey, Mum.
Copied and paste
And your mum.
49,999.
Adam's mum.
Yeah, she'll be there. She's everywhere.
She comes to see everybody's show except for mine.
Isn't Adam in this one?
Probably. Probably.
He told me he was.
Nicchia?
All in, and I will be doing something for the Bris Funny Fest. But
Will you be doing something for Bris Funny?
yes, with you.
Oh, okay, right. As always, you can follow Adam O'Sullivan Comedian on Facebook and visit thenerdinfinite.com. Hello, listeners. If you happen to be in Brisbane or Queensland in August, we would love to see you at our live show. We're doing D4WH live from the TARDIS, August the 14th at 5 p.m. It is the Eka Show Holidays, so if you work in Brisbane, you will have the day off. $15 online or $20 on the door. So make sure you jump in onto Sticky Tickets. That's stickytickets.com. Use the code DALEK, D-A-L-E-K, and you can get 20% off our 1, 2, or 3 people tickets. It's at Haya Bar in Fortitude Valley. We will have guests Glenn Stevens and Beck Buckingham to discuss the Daleks with us. Whether you're a Whovian, brand new to Who, or you've never watched it before, please come along. It'll be a fantastic and hilarious time.
Just a reminder, D4WH is on Facebook, so please give our page a like. Follow us on Twitter and on Instagram, D4WH Pod. You can rate and review us on iTunes, recommend us on Facebook, and follow us on Podbean. We're also now available on Spotify and Stitcher. Tell your friends about us. If you see someone on the street wearing a Doctor Who t-shirt, politely go up and tell them they should listen to our podcast.
Get the word out. You might be an archaeologist exploring a strange new world. The landscape has been overgrown by plant life, hiding the civilization that lived here before. You are at your dig site, uncovering the secrets from the past. As your brush loosens the dirt, you make out a letter, a capital D. You continue, and it's followed by a 4, then W, and yes, of course, H. You're pretty sure that this planet was one part of the great and bountiful D4WH Empire.
Yes!
Before it fell under the weight of its own ego.
Oh, that's you.
Until next time, keep searching the skies for the Doctor.
Good.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
This has been a production of The Nerd Infinite. And then the sound of dragons spitting fire and stuff. What? Why are you looking at me like that?